slaves of Egypt. We belong to the Father, ain't no pledge of allegiance. Both to celebrate that killing that he didn't need to. Both to keep the holy days, don't be like the heathen. Said that for a reason. We in Babylon, coming back.
The Pictish, the Cornish, the Gaulish, all of these are melanated tribes coming up out of what they're calling Africa, right, up into Europa. Because also at this point, the land masses is still kind of together. Then we go through a great cataclysm. They break up. Now everybody, wherever they at after the continental drift, is where these new societies develop off of the backs of the ancient antediluvian pre-flood societies that was already there. Okay? So Europa, West Asia, that becomes the little portion that is allowed, in a sense, to flourish because it's the closest to the upper northern part of what we're calling Africa today. And it is in what they call the Northwest. So the Northwest is, see, imagine your map like that, but north at the top, the west on the side, the east on the side, the south at the bottom. Then after the flip, you get the south at the top, north at the bottom, east over here, west over here. Then you get another flip. You see what I'm saying? So those people in Western Asia, i.e. Europa, they are now there as remnants, descendants of these societies that was already there, that had been reset. So they basically in the dark. So the southern portion, the northern portion of Asia is where it's all popping. That's where you got the so-called Scythians, aka the Tartarians and all of that. And they got a sway on all of that. But those Moors over there had what they call a Khanate, where they all under the Great Khan, right? And so they wanted their own identity. So they started dealing with the traditional Moors, not of Tari, but now of the barbarian, of the Barbary powers. So the Barbary powers are all of the Moorish or ancient Moorish estates left behind by the ancient Mauritanians, right? Who then gave that forth unto us, the Moorish peoples, be able to trace our lineage back, the imperial line, all the way back to the beginning. So these barbarians, these Barbaries, these Berbers, these Bambaras, these Moors now decided, okay, well, y'all are cousins anyway, so we're going to be able to get tribute from y'all. And so in the exchange of getting tribute and coming to us and all of that, they got to understand how government worked. They got to understand what it's like to have stuff. And so what they got to a point where they didn't have enough money or enough intrigue or power to pay for all of this, so they started giving up their women. They started giving up their daughters, their wives, and then this started to create a whole nother problem for us as Moors. Because now we're accepting these Circassian slave women, but because at this time now, as a people, we are now fracturing. We are now at odds with each other. The Traza Moors don't want to deal with the Songhay Moors. The Songhay Moors don't like you understand, the Andalusian Moors. The Andalusian Moors, they now banging on the Iberian Moors. You understand what I'm saying? And now everybody got their own thing. So what happens now, the empire starts to retract and starts to now get broken down into dominions and kingdoms. Right? And within these dominions and kingdoms, the Caucasian, the servile class, these Moors, they start having beef with their own brothers, with their own fathers, with their own mothers. So they start have the bright idea, what we're going to do, we're going to start having babies with the slave class women. And then raise the slave class women to where they even look phenotypically different. Realized was that enmity, that hate of their own people within each other started to pass through to the child. The child grows up, he sees that his mother's in the slave class, but he's in the rich imperial class. He don't want to see his mother do that. So what did he start doing? He started plotting against the father, right? He started plotting against the thing with other babies that look like him, and then they create a whole nother ruling class. Get a book called The Blue Vein Society. Tell you all about this. So all of this colorism with the octoroon, the mandroon, the quadroon, all that racist shit, all that come from melanated people. That's what people don't want to deal with. That's what we really don't want to deal with. All that colors and shit, that's coming from our own people. Because this is where I'm telling you where it started. And so this started to create indemnity amongst these greater Moors and these greater imperial dominions, because now their children is stepping up, and not only are they being in their own thing, they said, we're not even going to be Moorish no more. We're going to be Spanish. The Moors is like, what? Like, well, look, Dad, I'm going to be Spanish. I'm Spanish, not Moorish. Because you Moors are dirty, and look at what you did to Mom and blah, 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 blah. Right, and then the Moors... and then the Moors is like, F that shit. So what you gonna do? And what did they do? They start plotting against them, breaking them down, marrying into the family, assassinating them, selling them, right? Kidnapping them, right? And then what happens? Enough of these niggas get up, they create their own kingdom. What's the kingdom called? Well, we're all Roman. Remember, all of these chicks that they have babies with is Roman slave chicks. So they babies is technically Roman, but remember, these Moors are the ones who shut Rome down and ushered in a millennial reign of over 1,000 years of peace and prosperity to the entire world. To where the whole, I got an article from Timeline magazine. They said that at one point the Moors had the whole world on our timing, on our timing. Speaking what we sport, like how you think they got cocaine and coffee in the mummies in so-called Egypt, and there ain't no coffee and ain't no cocaine over there? Where was King Tut? Where was he getting his cocaine from? He was getting it from the Moors over here. You understand? Because we had a global network, and this whole thing fractured. And so the same people we broke down, we want to having babies with them. Them babies wound up coming up and then rebranding everything. So they said, we're no longer Romans, we're Castilian, we're Aragonese, we're Portuguese, we're whatever. And they start calling themselves this. But the difference is they start using the Circassian youth as their military backup against the traditionally darker skinned, swarthy armies that are controlling everything. This is
where the pause real quick right there. There's a movie, it was Dracula, it might have had another title, but it was Dracula something, came out in 2014.
Yeah, that one. That's about one.
That one, it just shows exactly what you said, where Dracula was a European prince.
Yes.
Right? He had been, when he was a child, he served under the Ottoman Turks. You know, he served under the Sultan, yeah. And his son came to do it.
And his brother Radu. Them niggas knew the Quran better than the Imam. They could read it back and forth.
Yeah.
But what happened was, he was a part of what I'm saying. He was a part of the Tepish family, because his name is Vlad Tepish, right?
Yeah.
The Tepish family was a part of what they call these are the old Roman pagan families that can trace their lineage all the way back to the antediluvian time of a scourge called the Hereshef. You're not going to hear too many people talk about them. But the Hereshef was so evil, so dirty, so degenerate, so powerful, that once Amenhotep the first became king, and his son Amenhotep the second took over, they struck the name Hereshef from everything. So nobody would even remember them. So they came back as other things. Like so when you see, you notice that Zeus's wife name is Hera, right? Then you get Heracles, right? Yeah. Then you get Heru, right? These are all elements of that Hereshepian energy. And then that changed into an antediluvian energy where they are now trying to bring these ancient ones that was wiped out back. They're trying to bring them back here and actualize them. And so they had different ways of doing that, through sexual ritual, through blood sacrifice, through whatever. But the other side of the game is that those of us that are part of the real shit, we are against this. So this back and forth between each other is where this racial tension comes from. Because half of us was with it, half of us was not with it. There was the 30% satisfied, the 60% dissatisfied. You see what I'm saying? And so by the time Tepish and them come, they form a new state This state is called the Drakensbergs. Okay? And the Drakensberg state came out of the union between two of these old Roman so-called Hereshepian families coming together. The Corvinius or the Corvinus, right? Like what you see in the movie Underworld. And the other one, which was the Tepish. And then there was a group of other families in there. So this Drakensberg families, what made them unique was that they were all going to worship their own version of the ancient ones, but use Christianity or Islam or whatever it is as the veil for them doing it. You understand? And then from that, they created what they call their own state, or the state of Drakensberg. And that Drakensberg, in a sense, became a draconian state that was now the operating system of the European black nobility families. You understand?
Yeah.
So all the black nobility families are open, practicing what we would call Satanists, but they're really Draconists. And these Draconists were at one time Frankists. Before they were Frankists, they were nihilists. Before they were nihilists, you see what I'm saying? But it's the same energy going all the way back, like I said, to the pre-flood times when the Nephilims and all that other type of shit is here. So when they're talking to us about aliens, when they're talking to us about AI, when they're talking to us about demons, that's all the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? When the aliens come, when they do flip their fake alien invasion shit, if you see them coming from the ground, that's fake. When you see them coming from the air, that's fake. They gotta come from the water, because that's where they at. They underground, they above, beyond ice walls and all this other type of shit. So because the present administrations, global administrations, want us to believe that the end of the world is soon, that means it's not. You understand? Because no man, according to their book, they said no man would know the time. The only way you know the time is by the signs, but the devil can flip the signs. He can make you see all types of shit that ain't happening. You understand? So if he say that the world going to end on Friday, then you know that's not going to happen. So whatever happened on Friday is his version of what the end would be. But how can he end something that he ain't had no business creating? How can he be the victor in something when every book, ancient book, modern book, comic book, history book, say that they all die, that they all end, that they all fail? So what the hell are we worried for?
Facts.
So that's why they get Moors to want to be something else. That's why they don't like us. That's why they don't want to do that, because the minute they start talking about democracy, we start talking about republic. The minute they start talking about black or color, we start talking about nationality, birthright. As soon as they start talking about what foods to eat, we start talking about health. Like, we're always the opposite of what they're saying. And we're the equivalent of that uncle in the family that nobody wants you to talk to, because they know all the secrets in the family.
Yeah.
That's what Moors always are. That's why you had, like I said, I wouldn't even know. One day I just came home when I first got Moor science, my first feds, I think I'm doing something. I walk in the crib, my grandmother look at me like, oh, you a Moor now? My heart dropped. Like, what? She didn't even say, oh, you a Mason. Like, she knew the difference. You know
that's
what I'm saying?
crazy.
She knew the difference. So I'm looking like, you know what this is? She's like, yeah, I knew a lot of eels and bays and this and that.
Yeah.
Louisiana and this and that. I'm there, my mouth gapes like.
Yo, that would have pissed me off, bro.
It did. And I started screaming on her because we had that type of relationship. I said, so what the hell did you raise us Christian for?
Word. Like, you see me out here struggling, trying to figure out
school for. Like,
word.
What were you doing?
You see me out here struggling, trying to figure out what's going on.
You see me out here? I'm out here thinking I'm from Africa and types of shit.
And then I'm the opposite. My mom was like, you got a nationality, you're a Moor.
Right.
We from
opposite. But you again, you coming from Panama where they families and shit was still together. We growing up with national language that unifies the people. Our only language is English, and everybody speak that.
Word.
That's why we started creating our own slang. And as soon as we do that, what white men do? We come up with a slang dictionary. Like, think about this. This has been happening. I remember when I first started breakdancing, right? I must have been breakdancing. That the road would be easy, and I don't believe he want me this far to leave me. Nobody told me that the road would be easy, and I don't believe he want me this far to leave me.
The devil tryna take my soul, no way I will fall. You can try it in that fire when you know you real gold. Most I might be testing you like he did when he test Joe. I know all this be stressing you, just hold on, don't let go. Keep your faith in all my legacy and never leave side. The most I send a jury in, man, I'ma catch a ride. I respect the father, cause I know he never lied. Got me out of situations, knew I could've died. You know I